I call to you now, Spirit of nature, strong and free. Come and teach me. I am ready to honor you. I celebrate your gifts. I am ready to learn your truths. As my ancestors did before me, I see your power and your pain beneath the green mantle.
'Tis the blooming of the lady and all her loving charms. Yonder comes the Lord at a dance within her arms. Then the two shall join and do the dance of life, and the earth shall be reborn again, and the earth shall be reborn again. And do the dance of life with us together. The blooming of the lady, such a lovely thing. Spring is in the air and it makes you want to sing. Now she bids us all to join the dance of life, and the earth shall be reborn again, and the earth shall be reborn again. Here we go, ready, and do the dance of life with us together. Sing a song of very merry weather. Do the dance of life with us together, and the earth shall be reborn again, and the earth shall be reborn again. 'Tis the blooming of the lady, everybody come, join us in the circle, the dancing has begun. Here we join together and do the dance of life, and the earth shall be reborn again, and the earth shall be reborn again. Last time, 1, 2, 3, and do the dance of life with us together. Sing a song of very merry weather. Do the dance of life with us together, and the earth shall born again, and the earth shall be reborn again. Thanks, friends.
We have a reading today that is sourced from various online sites. Beltane honors life. It represents the peak of spring and the beginning of summer. Earth energies are at their strongest and most active. All of life is bursting with potential fertility, and at this point in the wheel of the year, the potential becomes conception. On May Eve, the sexuality of life and the earth is at its peak. Abundant fertility on all levels is the central theme. The Maiden goddess has reached her fullness. She is the manifestation of growth and renewal. Flora, the goddess of spring, the May Queen, the May Bride. The young Oak King, as Jack in the Green, as the Green Man, falls in love with her and wins her hand. The union is consummated, and the May Queen becomes pregnant. Together, the May Queen and the May Queen and the May King are symbols of the sacred marriage, or Heiros Gamos, the union of earth and sky. And this union has merrily been re-enacted by humans throughout the centuries. For this is the night of the Greenwood Marriage. It is about sexuality and sensuality, passion, vitality, and joy, and about conception. A brilliant moment in the wheel of the year to bring ideas, hopes, and dreams into action and have some fun.
I always like to remind people that in Camelot, it's May, the lusty month of May. That's Beltane, right? But before I talk more about Beltane, I want us to think about what comes before May Day. Why all the excitement about this time of the year? So let's imagine what it was like before springtime arrived. Not for us here and now, but way back when these traditions and practices began. For peoples of ancient times in the Northern Hemisphere, with 4 very distinct and unique seasons. And if you'd like, you can even close your eyes and imagine. Imagine you're living maybe 3,000 years ago in Great Britain. It's winter time. You don't have a refrigerator or a freezer to keep your food. You, from day to day or long term, no central heating. There are no grocery stores, no restaurants. And you and your clan are dependent on the mercy of the ever-changing seasons. Your very survival in the winter is dependent on what you were not only able to grow, but what you were able to store and prepare for the long season of winter. You hope you and your loved ones don't go hungry. Your heat depends on how much wood you were able to gather and how much you were able to make to cover you. Hopefully your preparations over the months leading to winter was enough. Some find winter in Great Britain depressing. I don't know if you've ever been there in the winter or early spring. The days are short and cold with penetrating dampness. Everything feels cold and wet. Sometimes for days and days in a row, there's a relentless downpour of rain, grayness, fog. In the cold, dark winter, your people have stories of creatures and spirits in the attics and the barns, especially strange and scary creatures in the dark, foggy forests who may wish you harm, especially in Finland. They had the brothers, and the dwarves are based on the brothers in Finland at wintertime, but they were not nice guys. So you kept inside and you kept your children close. I mean, they even bit fingers, I'm just telling you. So we can imagine small groups in the wintertime gathered, huddled together in tight quarters. And what did COVID teach us even now? That being together in tight quarters, closed, there was greater disease in the wintertime and death more than at other times of the year. As in modern times, lack of sun could create seasonal depression is what we know now. And in those days, people would wander off into the forest, never to be found again. So as you sit imagining the dreariness, the heaviness, the penetrating damp cold, the fog, the darkness, just think how you would long for the growing seasons and the bright, warm seasons of spring and of summer. The ability to move fully around without a lot of layers, maybe all by yourself somewhere outside, to restore stores of food and wood for the fire. You are waiting to release the livestock out into the pastures again, into the barnyard and further out. to multiply and grow and eat and get fat. Longing to work the fields and grow crops again. You want the wildlife to come out again and for them to flourish too. You want them ready for hunting, so you can begin again to prepare for the next long winter. And then the days start to grow longer, the sun warm again. All of earth seems to be waking up. Little baby buds and leaves are coming out. And bird song, every day more and more bird song. If your eyes are closed, you might open them again and look in the light. There's light outside. I'm looking here to a blooming tree. As the earth began to flower again, the ground was ready again for new planting. The animals were multiplying. What a relief, what a release. We survived, maybe not all of us, but we survived to the winter, most of us, through the winter. You feel energy. The animals are restless to go to the pastures. May, the lusty month of May. It is thought that the Gaelic word Beltane means bright fire. So I wore my bright fire stole this morning. In the stories of the Celts, Beltane was a time when the sun even, not just the people and the animals, but the sun was free again to burn bright. Bonfires would symbolize this energy of the sun and fire and growth. So it was a time of light and fire and warmth and energy. Fires were kindled and seen as providing protection, protective powers to cleanse and refresh and restore the people and the livestock. Rituals were performed to protect the herds, protect the people, protect the crops, and to encourage growth. May was the time, as I mentioned, that the cattle were driven out to the pastures. And there are old stories of, in many areas, of two great bonfires being lit on the eve before May Day. And the cattle were driven through the fires for protection. It was said that the people would then leap over the fires and maybe walk through the fires. They would take the ash from the Beltane fire and maybe even spread it all over themselves for protection. People would take embers from the Beltane fires, go to their fires at home that had originally been lit and kept burning from last year's Beltane fire. They would put out last year's Beltane fire and light it again from this year's Beltane embers. As all looked forward to the growing season, not as worried about their winter stores, it was the time to feast, and feast like crazy for May Day. The evergreen was associated with the winter solstice and decorating the evergreen tree, but in May, you would bring out the flowers. You would decorate with white and bright flowers to echo the light and warmth of the sun. And instead of the evergreen tree, you would have the May bush that you would decorate with flowers and maybe birds and all sorts of things. For the Celts, it was thought that the fairies were especially interested in your cattle and your cow's milk. So there was a lot of fear about protecting all of your dairy products. The ash from the Beltane fire was used to keep the fairies away from the butter churn. And May boughs were tied to milk pails and also to cows' tails to keep those darn fairies away. It's our milk, okay? It's our milk. and let's think about then what this time of the year means for you, to think about getting out of the winter season and into this season of refreshment and vitality. What seed was germinating for you over the winter time? What hope, what plans were underground that you hope will bloom at this time? The Irish poet, John O'Donoghue, one of my favorites, the Irish poet, priest, and philosopher, notes this about this change in season. Within the grip of winter, it is almost impossible to imagine the splendor of spring. The gray, perished landscape is shorn of color. Only bleakness meets the eye in winter. Everything seems severe and edged. Yet beneath the surface of winter, the miracle of spring is already in preparation. The cold is relenting. Seeds are waking up. Colors are beginning to imagine how they will return. Then imperceptibly, somewhere, one bud opens, and the symphony of renewal is no longer reversible. From the black heart of winter, a miraculous, breathing plenitude of color emerges. Like spring, we may be finding ourselves crossing some new threshold. Like spring, secretly at work within the heart of winter, below the surface of our lives, huge changes are in fermentation. We never suspect a thing. Then when the grip of some long-enduring winter mentality begins to loosen, we find ourselves vulnerable to a flourish of possibility. And we are suddenly negotiating the challenge of a threshold. John O'Donoghue reminds us that at any time you can ask yourself, at which threshold am I now standing? At this time in my life, what am I leaving? Where am I about to enter? What is preventing me from crossing the threshold? What gift would enable me to do it, to take that step? A new threshold is always a challenge. It demands courage and also a sense of trust in whatever is emerging. This becomes essential when a threshold opens suddenly, unexpected in front of you, one for which you had no preparation. Let's say it could be illness or loss or suffering, hardship, but it could be a new job, a new relationship. No threshold need be a threat, but rather an invitation, a promise. We merely need to trust. Just look at the blooming tree. All that work to get those beautiful blooms out, and then someday it happens. Spring has arrived. The flowers are blooming. The sun has been freed. Time to feel released from the grips of winter. Jump over bonfires, dance around maypoles, find companions to feast with, dare I say drink with, grapes of one kind or another. Find a companion, two-legged or four-legged, to cuddle with. Tend to growing plants and ideas, new journeys. Think about summer adventures. I'm going to end with an ancient blessing we believe for Beltane. We really don't know how old this Gaelic blessing is, and I'm not going to wrestle with the Gaelic. I will translate it into English. It was finally written down in the 1800s, and I've slightly adapted it. So a blessing for Beltane. Blessed, O threefold true and bountiful, myself, my household, and the generations to come. On the fragrant plain, a mountain herder's shelter, everything within my dwelling or in my possession, all herds and crops, all flocks and corn, from Hallow Eve to Beltane Eve, with goodly progress and gentle blessing, from sea to sea and every river mouth, from wave to wave and base of waterfall, may all be blessed. And so we can release the corners.
West. South. East. North. And now, time to extinguish our chalice. Please join us in extinguishing our chalice and your home chalice, if you have lit it, with these words. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
You may rise and body your spirit as you're able. And let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, and everybody turn and spin. You can do it. Let your body learn to bend, head like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. A child is born, behold the sign, a time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance, chorus, and let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you, through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance, and morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance, let it be a dance, let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain.